Dark and darker fighter perks and skills. Today I'm going to go over all the different perks and skills, which one's good, which one's bad, and then at the end of the video I'm going to go over my solo fighter build. So stay tuned, let's go ahead and jump right into it. First things first, one of the first skills we're going to go over is a Barricade. Barricade increases your defense rating by 5 when you're in a defensive stance. So that's like when you're blocking, you know? We got the shield out, you blocking. Here's me with the short. And that's, yeah.
Blocking,
shield. Yeah. Defensive stance. This is when you're blocking. Pretty simple. Yeah, I hit my microphone there. Hopefully it doesn't sound too messed up now. Anyway, next one is combo attack. Combo attack is actually pretty good. I typically try to pick this one up, you know, when I might possibly when I'm going to be PvPing more. I usually try to pick this one up. What it does is it increases your attack power by 10% with each successful melee attack. And that's within 3 seconds. Keep that in mind, 3 seconds. The next one we're going to cover is counter attack. Successful defense increases the movement speed and attack speed by 10% for 3 seconds. So if you're more of a defensive person, you know, you defend first, attack next, you know, defend and then attack, you know, if this might be more of a thing for you. You might go with a counterattack build. It's very plausible because, you know, the fighter's a little bit slower, not as quick as like a rogue, so you're waiting for the rogue to swing, and then you block, and then you go swing back, and you get the speed buff. Next thing we're going to cover is Defense Expert. Pretty easy. It increases the armor by 10%. Pretty self-explanatory. The next one we're going to cover is Dual Weld. Right here. Dual Weld. Pretty much what exactly it sounds like. Dual Weld. Equipping weapons in both hands increases attack speed by 7%. Dual Weld is actually fairly good. You can combo it with some of the other skills, and I'll do a little video later, and it'll be over on that side, and it'll be with the skills, so make sure you stay tuned. The next one we're going to cover is Projectile Resistance. Pretty simple, pretty standard. It reduces the projectiles from 10%. Pretty easy. Now, one of the big things in these dungeons is the range are kind of shitty. So the only ones those are more so talking about are the archers. The mages are magical. They're not, you know, not projectile, I don't think. So, yeah. Next one I am going to cover is Shield Expert. I don't really ever pick this one up. It increases your movement speed by 5% when in defensive stance. I don't really get this one. They're just way better perks that you can get. Maybe it'll be a little bit more viable later when you know, they add some more stuff, but currently I don't think that's very viable. Next one we're going to cover is Swift. Swift is actually not too bad of a perk. It might be very viable fighting PvP, and it could be viable fighting PvE. It reduces the penalty when you have equipped armor, for your equipped armor, and it's by 20%. So one of the big things is like when you're fighting PvP, fighting PvE, being able to move back up or out of the swing or something. So if you're too slow, you might not be able to get out of that two-handed swing range because you're too slow. So that Swift might allow you to be able to back up out of it. So Swift is actually not too bad of a perk. The next one we're going to cover, and I believe is the last one, and save the best for last, is Weapon Mastery. This is what gives fighter its amazing ability, is this. This allows you to equip bows. It is such a big thing with these dungeons to be able to shoot everything, because if you can't kill the range and can't kill mages, you're going to have a hard time maneuvering around the dungeons. And this just makes it so much easier. So that's really one of the perks I always pick up. Alright, some of the first skills that I want to cover is Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline Rush is actually really good. This is the one skill I wanted to talk about, that you can combo it with your other ability that increases your attack power for every successful swing within 3 seconds. It's great there, combo attack. So you can combo your combo attack with your Adrenaline Rush, and you'll be hitting really hard, you'll be swinging fast. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is your Adrenaline Rush is a one charge. It's a one and done, one and gone. You know, yeah. And, yeah, so keep that in mind. You only use that in emergency situations. The next thing I'm going to cover is Second Wind. Second Wind is going to be your heal for the fighter. That is absolutely amazing. It heals you for 50% of HP over 12 seconds. This is really, really huge. And the thing is, if you're running Adrenaline Rush with Second Wind, it's going to remove that debuff from from Adrenaline Rush. Because after you pop your Adrenaline Rush, you get a movement speed debuff. The next thing we will cover is Breakthrough. Breakthrough is actually really good. If you run into cases where you're running into a lot of PvP, you're getting slowed a lot, and you're getting frustrated, you might want to consider picking up Breakthrough as your second ability and then taking your heal as your first. What Breakthrough does is it makes it so your movement slow buffs, you don't get them. Yeah, very simple. It's really, really good. So you might want to test that out and see if that's something that will possibly work for you. The next thing we're going to go over is Sprint. Sprint's actually, yep, pretty self-explanatory. Sprint, you can move faster. Yep, that's exactly what it does, is you run faster. The next thing we will cover, which I think is almost going to be the last one, is Taunt. Taunt's really good. It's not as useful. It's pretty much only for PvE, so if you're not killing like the Lich boss or something in particular, it's kind of useless. For the most part, most mobs in the dungeon you can kill without having Taunt. So unless you're like, I really don't think you need it for too much, except for like maybe the Lich. And then I think people have done it without it. So it's, yeah, don't really need it. And the last thing, but not least, is the Victory Strike. Really good ability. I use this quite a bit. What Victory Strike does is it gives you an additional 20% weapon damage, and if you kill the mob, it heals you for 5%. So it's like a Mortal Strike in some other games is what they call it. I really like this ability, and it works good. Nice thing about this ability is you can use this multiple times. It's not like the Adrenaline Rush where you can use it once, or the Second Wind, which you can use it once. So, knowing all this, what do I run when I run solo dungeon? Well, one of the first things I always run is Second Wind. I like to have that heal. And for most cases, most of the time, what I'll run is Victory Strike with it. Victory Strike gives me that extra little bit of heal, it gives me a little bit more damage, and I try to time it with, with the mob killing, and yeah, you can get extra health. And I think it's like a 25 or 30 second cooldown, so it's fairly low. The next thing I will add for my perks is Weapon Mastery. This gives me the bow. As I said earlier, bow wins games, okay? The bow is amazing for the dungeons. Like, you need to have a bow to clear like parts of the dungeon, to get through the maneuver around the dungeon. You need to have a ranged weapon. So yeah, this is kind of like a must. The next thing I usually like to pick up is Counterattack. I like to be able to kill mobs really easy. I like to, get into PvP a little bit. This gives me a little bit of extra oomph to get onto the next level. Yeah, I really like combo attack. And then the third perk I like to take is, where's it at? Dual Weld. I like to pick up Dual Weld sometimes because I will switch my build. And the reason I do that because it gives attack speed. And one of the downsides that the fighter has is that you attack a lot slower. So, like, say if you're running into a rogue, or, depending on whatever the case is, or what weapons you might have, you might want to pick up Dual Weld. Sometimes I like having Dual Weld. But you can swap out this one, Dual Weld, with a counterattack or something, because sometimes I know I'm not going to use another weapon, so I'll go a counterattack, and then I'll go a Swift as my last one. Swift's really good because I like to be able to move faster because I'm solo, and most of the time I'm running into 2- and 3-man groups. And anytime you can move faster than your enemy and get a little bit of distance from them, it's way better. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. It means so much.